Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural sort of Hacks and Carside webinar, where today we'll sort of be running through all the key insights, updates, and takeaways that we took from HubSpot's premier event in Boston, Inbound 2023. But before we jump in and before I sort of introduce Hacks and Carside, what I first want to do is talk a little bit about us, what we do, in case it's your first time hearing of us. And then second of all, I want to run through how the webinar will work, what the things we'll be talking about, and how you guys can get involved. So first of all, hello, we're Hacks and Carside. So we're a growth agency based out of Manchester. We work exclusively within the B2B space, helping them make the most out of their HubSpot instance. And the way we do this is through our three key pillars, one of which is tech, which helps your processes mold around your HubSpot so that HubSpot works for you. Inbound marketing, which again, sort of as it says on the tin, help you through your marketing generate qualified leads. And then the website to help your website become your best salesperson, have a great growth-driven design website to help you drive leads from your website straight away. Now, how this webinar will run is that we've got, between us four, we've got a couple of points to talk about with Inbound, talking about some of the key HubSpot product updates, and alongside that, some of the key takeaways we took from the event, and things we're looking to implement with our clients and with ourselves going forward. And yeah, we've got questions. So if you're live on LinkedIn now, we can get your questions up and we can answer them later on in the live stream. So without further ado, I'll let the guys introduce themselves, probably starting with Becky. It's probably closest to me.
Thanks, Rob. Hi, everyone. My name is Becky Jamieson. I am the CRM project lead here at Hacks and Carside. I've been with Hacks and Carside just over a year now, but I've worked in the wonderful world of CRM and tech for about 17 years. So it's really interesting to see the developments that are happening at the moment. It's a really exciting time.
Brilliant. Spot on. Go on then, Rob.
So thanks. I'm also called Rob, Rob Samuels. So I am head of inbound at Hacks and Carside. So I oversee our marketing service. I've been with the company for 4.5 years. My background prior to that is content marketing and academia as well, if you want the kind of less interesting story. Thanks everyone for joining today, and good to see you. I can see a comment from Phil Drake there already, so good to see you here as well.
Brilliant. And then Jay.
Hello, my name's not Rob. I'm Jay Kiss. I'm a marketing consultant here at Hacks and Carside. I think I've been here probably cracking on 3 years now. I originally started as a videographer and moved through into becoming a marketing inbound marketer, I should say, and now I've moved into a consultancy role. So I basically help clients achieve their goal, help them put strategies together and deliver work. That's me.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys, and thank you guys obviously for being part of the webinar today. Why don't we crack on and get started with some of the, I mean, listen, coming back from Inbound, there was a load of changes coming to HubSpot, a lot of which involving things like artificial intelligence and just a lot of updates to the CRM and some of the hubs in general. So why don't we start with you, Becky? Let's hear some of the changes that have happened with the engagement hubs and the smart CRM.
I mean, I could talk about this for hours. I won't, but I could. There are so many. Just putting the tech nerd head on for a minute. There are so many exciting things happening with HubSpot at the moment, and so many developments across the entire platform, which is good to see. I think we've got a slide, Rob, that showcases kind of each module, just for anybody that's not aware of the capabilities of HubSpot. I know a lot of people use it for marketing, but it really does support businesses throughout the entire journey. So really some exciting things that I wanted to share. We've got the marketing hub first up, where we've got lots of really interesting campaign and content assistances that are coming through with AI, from ChatSpot, different chatbots that are launching, in kind of content AI, helping customers, to look at tone and pace and content of emails, which is really exciting, some of which is already available. There's also things coming through across the Sales Hub as well. So new prospecting workspaces, for example, is really exciting. New lead management tools, things that we've not seen in HubSpot before, which are going to be, big game changers for people that are working in BDM roles, BDE roles, all those kind of things. There's also some new exciting things that people are seeing. So, for example, some people will already be seeing some of the features that are coming into the Deals Hub and seeing the reports that are now available. Things like deal amounts, weighted values, AI forecasting and average deal dates. And that, again, goes all the way through the sales process. Then we've got the Service Hub, where we've got a whole range of help desk improvements. We've got chatbot improvements, support assistance for self-service. We've then got CMS Hub, which again is another kind of favorite of HubSpot users to build websites. And again, there we've got kind of new web page assistant tools, advanced reporting, again, and new ways to automate within the CMS Hub, which is exciting. We've then got the Ops Hub, which we're seeing some really exciting things in. So the Operations Hub within HubSpot allows people to make sure that their data's clean, and it allows people to make sure that they're using the data and the properties within the system. And there's some really new, nice ways to automate in there. And we've also got some new AI reporting coming out as well, which I'm really excited about, where you can ask HubSpot the question that you want the answer for, and it will generate a report. So all those things are really exciting. They're going to make big differences in the way that people use the system. And you're very right, Rob, it is very much moving from kind of standard CRM as we know it through to a new smart CRM and a smarter way of working, which is, just crazy when you think of, where CRM was 5 years ago to the things that we see come through HubSpot today. Things like the Commerce Hub, payment links, invoices, billings, connected apps, all in one place. It really is becoming, a whole new way of using that data and unifying that customer data to use it intelligently. I've been a HubSpot fan for a long time, and these changes that we're seeing really are going to change the game. Some of them are available. I've been speaking to clients this week about some of them. And, I had a client earlier this week, we were talking about the new AI features. And it's nice to see that HubSpot users are getting excited about how these things are going to save them time and the possibilities that are in the system. But I'll let Rob talk a little bit more about how you can use these and what it means for people from a marketing perspective.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah, I think there's a couple of really key implications from this. So in the diagram that we just showed on the screen, smart CRM's kind of listed at the bottom, and it's essentially a bracket that incorporates all of these things. And obviously HubSpot has always had the various hubs, and they've developed those over the years. I think the big implication for this is that smart CRM is the heartbeat. It's becoming the heartbeat of HubSpot. So obviously, they're a tech company. They want you to use their stuff. The more you use it, the more you're going to get out of it. But really, that is pretty huge for the way we consider using HubSpot and the way we incorporate it into our business processes from start to finish. And one of the most important things from Inbound that I took away from their Spotlight keynote talk was that all these AI software, they're really integrating it. So the whole thing is an AI first platform. It's not just tacking on a few neat little AI tools that make things a bit easier, or there's the odd cool little feature here and there. They're really inserting it throughout the whole piece as being absolutely vital to the way you do things. So if we think about like a practical use case scenario, for instance, of let's say you're a marketer and your MD is banging on your door saying, right, we've got this new product and we need 50 leads of it by the end of the month, and you think, oh God, what am I going to do? The idea is you've got all these tools at your disposal throughout the various hubs that can help you achieve that right the way through to sales and even service. So you can use the campaign AI tool to generate campaign bits and pieces. So the assets, the content, social post promoting it can all be generated by AI. You can, create lists and use smart CRM to populate those lists and add more information to them. Make sure the data is clean. Make sure that you're marketing to an actual viable list of real contacts. So you can do all of that. Then the sales process with the new Sales Hub is much cleaner. You can understand who's coming in. You can sell to them better. You can target those accounts better. And then even when you've got a happy customer, you've got an AI chatbot that enables them to come on, ask a question about your service, scans the website for you to find a response. So it's just cutting out loads of time consuming little elements that would take up a huge amount of your job, enabling you to focus on kind of more important things, more strategic thinking, making sure that you're doing the best job you can, really. So it's a really interesting approach to how we manage the whole customer life cycle, and even, I guess, buyer's journey from lead right the way through to customer and beyond. Then the second really important implication for this is that the way AI is being built into the platform means that we have to think about our marketing strategies in a bit more differently. So the previous approach to inbound isn't wrong necessarily, but I think the approach needs to be focusing on quality over quantity. We've got AI that can help us tinker with little bits and pieces, which really means that our focus as marketers should be on creating really high value original content. If you've got something like ChatGPT or HubSpot that can write a blog for you, well, that's great, but everyone can do that. So what can we as human beings and marketers bring to the table that's different and adds value to our audience, to our customers, to our prospects? And the great thing about AI is that it can scan everything that exists in an instant and pull the best information from that. What it can't do is create new and original concepts and stories. So I think when we're considering our marketing strategies in light of this, we need to be thinking about that, really. So a couple of really big, important takeaways, I think, for marketers from this. Jay, do you want to go through some of the kind of hubs in a bit more detail?
Yeah, sure. You did just say most of the stuff that I wanted to say.
All right, job done. Let's move on.
Yep. Okay. Back over to you, Rob. No. Yeah, I think there's some really important and really powerful tools that are coming to HubSpot. One of them being the AI chatbots. It was something that was previously you could only achieve with third-party tools, but now with it being included in HubSpot, you have the added benefit of all the reporting that you have within HubSpot, within that chatbot. And like Rob said, you can sort of scan your website in an instant, and it gives your customers this knowledge instantly, like a touch there, like whatever question they want to ask is right there for them without having to scan your website. So I think that's a really powerful tool that's coming. Some other ones include things like AI subject line generators. I would always advocate that you would never just use the first output from AI. I'd always use your best practices, use your marketers, your knowledge as marketers to use that as a jumping off point. And I'd suggest that all the way throughout these tools, but it's a really good starting point. Additionally to that, you've got things like AI Website Builder, which is coming to HubSpot, which is available for anyone to use for free. It's a sort of a prompt-based system. It'll ask you questions about your business, ask you how you want to style the website, and it will give you a good starting point, a single-page site to work from, something that previously would have taken weeks, if not months, to sort of develop and get off the ground. You can do now within minutes. Additionally to that, you've got other tools like AI-generated social copy. So picture you've got a blog and you want to get a social post out about it. You would have had to have had a copywriter or a social expert read that blog, understand it, compact it down into something that could go on LinkedIn, go on X or Facebook, whatever you're posting to, and really understand it, compact it down. But now at the press of a button, it'll read that blog for you, get it into a fully optimized social post, and then you can send it out. We've already covered things like AI-powered content ideation, stuff that you could, like Rob was saying before, anyone can stick a prompt into ChatGPT, get an output. But yeah, it's about applying your knowledge as marketers and really tailoring that content to get the best out of it. I'll let Becky touch on AI-assisted reporting. That's more her world. But yeah, like she was saying before, things like you can add a prompt in, I want a report to say X, Y, and Z, and it will build that report without you having to spend your precious time trying to figure out how to get that report to do what you want it to do. You've also got other tools like landing page creation. So like a click of a button, you can create a landing page for a campaign you're pushing out. There's so many things that are coming out, and it's always being iterated upon all the time with HubSpot. But just one thing to note is it's not only about the operational efficiency improvement, but it's also AI allows you to, or it will give you that strategic insight for your customers much quicker than you could do by yourself. So yeah, I think that my key points I wanted to cover.
Brilliant, spot on. I think from my perspective as well, I think all these new tools and, with the repositioning of the engagement hubs alongside the smart CRM, they're all tailored to make marketing, sales, tech, everyone's lives a bit easier, and it's meant to be more user focused. And I think that's the key point, I think, to take from all the new sort of updates they announced at Inbound, is that, there's with a lot more touch points for the customer now from a pre-sales, sales, marketing perspective. There's so much more ground to cover, and this new CRM and the reposition of it as engagement hubs, I think really gives it the edge, and I think really helps you focus in on what your customers' touch points are and how to communicate with them effectively.
I think this has been one of the biggest development focuses around the user journey. Mm-hmm. Both from what does the customer journey look like, and what do clients, what do the audience, what do prospects, leads, and clients, advocates all want to know what data do we need to capture, but equally, what do the end users want? What's going to make people's lives easier? Nobody wants to use a product, a system that's difficult, that takes time, that adds admin to your day. People don't want that. And historically, that's what CRM has been seen as for some people, especially for salespeople. They, historically don't enjoy using CRM. And, with the new features that are becoming available and the ability to build workspaces around individual roles, allowing you to, as Jay's mentioned, bring those reports into spaces that are where salespeople work, where marketing teams work, where your customer success team work, and those metrics are valuable and important, and they mean something to those end users. When you pair that with all these new smarter ways of using the data and all these new smart AI tools that are enhancing the way that the system can be used, it suddenly becomes a very different place to work. And it becomes a much more enjoyable place to work, because you'll get a lot more out of the platform than you ever have done before.
Perfect. Yeah. Couldn't have said that better. Spot on. In terms of takeaways then, obviously, like I said, alongside all the product updates, there were a lot of keynote talks to go to, a lot of keynote talks, back in Manchester we were listening to too. So, Jay, how about a key takeaway from you? What was your number one takeaway from the event, and what was the one thing you want to implement, with clients going forward?
I think if we're talking tools-wise, the thing that I want to get on and start implementing with my clients is definitely the AI chatbot. I think that is probably the biggest tool, and there wasn't a big deal about it. It was just mentioned on the sideline, but I think it's really, really powerful, and it brings so much value. We've got a lot of clients that have extensive knowledge bases, and if it can scan those and give those insights to customers and potential customers coming to their website quickly, I think that's really, really valuable. But I think as an overall takeaway, I think there's obviously been a lot of scaremongering of marketers scared that AI is going to take their job. And that isn't the case. AI won't take your job, but someone knows how to use it effectively will. So it's like there's some points that basically use AI as an augmentation, not a replacement for your skills. Don't just use it and throw whatever it spits out back at you. Put that online. Use your knowledge, make it, optimize it, and go from there. I think there's obviously a big emphasis on AI replacing menial tasks and allowing, freeing up professionals to sort of focus on the higher impact work for their clients. And it's I think that was a big takeaway from from inbound in general, it is the role of AI is enhancing human capabilities rather than replacing them. Is sort of adding that value to your client relationships and strategies.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. I think, like I said, with the new AI tools, it's about adoption, isn't it? Rather than leaning on it completely, or vice versa, putting your head in the sand. I think it's just about adopting it and using it for the business case that you have for it. Becky, how about you? Your key takeaway? Obviously, you were there.
I think my key takeaway, apart from being ridiculously excited about the tech changes, is that this is a really big opportunity for people to become early adopters of AI. As Jay rightfully said, it's not going to take your job away, but embracing AI now and these new tools, becoming familiar with them, understanding them, playing around with them, asking questions. We have a great wealth of knowledge within the team of people that understand AI from different perspectives. Jay being our resident expert, and there are a lot of opportunities for every type of business to use AI in some respect. And I think the new tools are just, one, they're going to make everybody's life so much easier. The way that we change is the way that we work is going to change within the next kind of 10 years. Our roles are going to look very different. And the faster that we can kind of get ahead of that curve, the more comfortable it's going to be. So yeah, I think early adoption is important, and it's fun. Any of my clients that I've spoken to over the last week, we've started digging into these new features that are available, that people are getting or that are in beta, and it's fun to see people experience these and find these new little kind of hidden gems that you can tell just by how people react to them that it's going to make people's lives easier. So yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway. Don't be scared of it. Have fun with it. Get on board as early as you can.
Spot on. Couldn't agree more. And finally, Rob, what's your takeaway from the event?
So I think I've got a couple of big things really. I think obviously, as my role as a marketer, and particularly with a content background, I think the natural instinct of content creators is to kind of sneer at AI a little bit and think, well, AI generated content is rubbish. I can do much better than that. And the reality is that often what it produces is fine, and AI will undoubtedly corner the market with the sort of how do I do X type questions. You can go into ChatGPT and ask it, I've got a problem, this particular problem, I want to find out how to do this thing. It gives you a step-by-step breakdown of how to do it. It does it faster than a human can, and why on earth would you go to Google and troll through a load of blogs which talk about their nan's recipe from Tuscany in 1962 when ChatGPT will tell you instantly? So, that's definitely going to have an impact. So, as I said earlier, the key takeaway for me is really reconsidering how we approach content, therefore, in order to make it valuable and make it worthwhile. So that's my first key takeaway. I would say the second one is we keep talking about, it's mentioned a few times in this webinar, the idea that, it'll save you time, it makes you more productive. You'll get loads of time back. So the question I think all of us should be asking ourselves in light of these updates is, what do I do with that time? How do I invest that time wisely? Like Jay and Becky have both said, we shouldn't fear AI. It's not going to come for our jobs necessarily. It's given us a lot more time back. So how do we reinvest that time so it's worthwhile? Instead of just doing an extra 5 meetings a day, which is probably what I'll do, actually, come to think of it. So I'd say they're probably my key takeaways. Brilliant.
Spot on. Thank you, guys. I'm just looking at the chat now to see questions we've got. There's a couple from the team here, so I'll get them up. So this one's from Alison. How can I make the most out of the smart CRM once it's up and running? And is there anything I should do in my database right now to get it ready for launch? Open to the floor.
I think I'm going to jump in first. I'm sure everyone will have something to add, but I think the most important thing to do in preparation is to make sure that your database is clean. Make sure that the data that you currently hold is being used, that you've got the right properties, that you're collecting the right information, that you've not got duplicates and old data in there. Something that is really important to consider when you're making any changes, especially when you're going to be implementing something like Smart CRM, which is going to start providing more valuable and smarter data, is that you don't get into technical debt. And what I mean about that is a system that's got a lot of small fixes over and over it without necessarily the correct level of thought or planning behind those fixes. If you're truly going to embrace Smart CRM and you're truly going to embrace ensuring that your team can work smarter and you want to give them that time back from all these amazing tools, you've got to start off with a really good foundation. And it's something that we see a lot, CRMs that have been built upon and built upon and built upon. And sometimes you've got to think about how you can strip that back a little bit to make sure that it's as valuable as it can be before you build the next level on.
Is it still, sorry, Rob, I was just going to say, is it the case that it's like, I'm just trying to apply it back to like content. So if you were generating something with ChatGPT, if you gave ChatGPT or ChatSpot a rubbish prompt, you're going to get rubbish out. Is it the same approach with the CRM, that if you have rubbish that you're feeding into it, you're going to get rubbish result out of it?
Exactly. And I think the interesting thing there, Jay, is, if we're looking at the AI tools and we're looking at, who we should be contacting with what messaging, if the data in the system's not up to date, if it's old, if it's, just being built upon, so there's multiple fields holding the same information, it's not a good starting point to get the lists that you need. So ultimately the message is going to get lost because you're not going to target the right people. So yeah, exactly that. You really do need to think about kind of what your basis is.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I think, we've sort of, all of us on this call now, over the last sort of 12, 18 months, have encountered a few examples of customers who have, come to us with CRM systems that they need a data alignment, or we've done a lot of work on that. And, it makes a huge impact with what we can deliver as marketers. So I think one of the key things to consider with Smart CRM is it's not just something for either salespeople or, data managers. It's a really important marketing tool, and if you can get it together, get the data clean, get it all in there, then we can really have a huge impact in marketing and what we can do as well.
Brilliant. I've had a couple more come through there, so we can answer a couple more now. This one's from Meg. Which HubSpot AI update do you feel will have the most significant impact on your client's profitability? So affecting the bottom line, basically.
Affecting the bottom line is going to be a tough one. I think there's a couple of potential answers to that. Either the ones that save you the most time, so you can invest your time in something else more profitable, or something that will enable you to have visibility over your profitability, which is AI reporting. So at the moment, the reporting tool in HubSpot, it's fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. However, it can be a little bit inaccessible if you're not really used to trying to program reports. If you're trying to do cross-object reports, for example, it can be quite difficult to figure out where you're pulling the data in. The idea of AI reporting is you just write a prompt and tell it what you want it to do. So it should really allow a greater level of accessibility to reporting that people won't have had before. So they'll be able to see how productive their sales teams are, how many leads they're getting from marketing, all those things that will enable you to better visualize profitability. I know that in itself won't have an impact on the bottom line, but you'll be able to see it better.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily one tool by itself. I think it's the accumulation of all of these tools together. Like Rob said, the time that you're saving is that, I don't think, I wish it was the case, but I don't think they've implemented a feature that just makes you make more money. I wish that was a thing, but it's learning how to use these tools efficiently, save your team time, focus yourself on a higher impact work for your clients.
I think the only thing I'd add to that, because I think you've both absolutely nailed the answer, but I think the only thing I would add is that in order for this to work and for any AI to work and the Smart CRM to have the impact on profitability, the team using it need to be engaged and need to be behind what you're doing as a business, and that if you're implementing these tools and you're really going to embrace them, you need to have the buy-in of the team, because that will ultimately drive the success and therefore the profitability along the line.
Brilliant. Yes, spot on. Got time, I think, for a couple more now. I'm going to shoot this one through. It's more of a content marketing sort of question here. As more marketers gravitate towards AI for content creation, there is a risk of encountering identical content on the web. What steps can marketers take to generate content that will set them apart?
If you don't mind me jumping in first on that one, I think the key thing is trying to find the story and find something original. Think how you can add value to your audience. So original research reports, for example, where you're collecting data from your own customers and showing people information from that is going to be really high value. AI can't produce that. It's going to be things like webinars, things like podcasts, the type of content where it's thought leadership, it's a human being expressing views and ideas that an AI can't generate. So I would say the focus should be on that to ensure you're getting the best value from content and make sure we're not getting identical content to everyone else.
I think the other thing I'd probably add on that is that, eventually people will learn to what's the AI and what's not. And, we know that AI looks at what's available already and repurposes it. So making sure that a human is going through any content before you post it. I know we've mentioned it a couple of times, but I think it's really important that although AI is a really valuable tool and can save a lot of time, you still need that human interaction. Somebody still needs to just proofread, make sure that it's, in line with company values, make sure that it's giving the right message. I think that human interaction is still going to be really important.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day as well, I think stuff we're talking about AI content, Ryan, at the end of the day, humans buy from humans. At the end of the day, you can put a script through ChatGPT, tell it to write itself into a blog, but as it's probably you need a human to proof it, and you need a human to edit it to make sure that it resonates with your audience. I think we've only got time for a couple more, so I'll shoot these through now. For someone that hasn't used AI before, could you share your favorite use cases? Hold on, sorry. For the application of AI you've encountered, how would you have had to approach it if AI wasn't a thing?
Do you want to do this one, Becky? Because I've got one in mind, but it was one that we did together.
No, you go for it, Jay. You go for it.
You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. It was a little while ago, but basically we had, it was a piece of work that we were doing for a client where we were basically trying to match one record against another, but it was in a big spreadsheet. And if we didn't have the use of AI, I think it probably would have taken about 2 days work. So we're talking like 12 hours to try and do this through using, I know we're touting HubSpot here, but another tool that we use is ChatGPT. We use their advanced data analytics tool. So we were able to give it these spreadsheets, give it the prompt of exactly what we wanted it to do, and it was able to match these records up within 2 minutes. Would you say, Becky?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so that was like over 12 hours of time saved, and that was one instance. So that was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I completely agree. By far my favorite so far.
We're all discovering, aren't we? We're all discovering. I think we've got time for, I know a few more questions have come through, but I've time for one more here from Arkin. Will HubSpot Content Writer AI work for web pages outside of HubSpot?
Why would you ever want a web page outside of HubSpot? I would assume so. I would have thought you'd be able to get it to write it, and then you could copy and paste it into another page. I don't see why there was I can't see a reason why you couldn't do that. I don't know whether Becky or Rob, you got any other thoughts on that, but I can't see an issue with it.
I'm trying to remember back to inbound because I remember it being covered. I'm about 90% sure that you can use it outside of HubSpot. It's a free tool, and I think it does. But if it doesn't, then it's Jay's fault, not mine. I've been misinformed by Jay. It wasn't just my own ignorance.
Yeah,
I think one of the things that's important to point out is, although it may write outside of HubSpot, it's important to remember that you do need to use HubSpot, to use the tool. You can't kind of get the AI tools separately from the HubSpot portal. They're included within the portal, many of which are available on multiple subscription levels. You've not got to, you know, have necessarily the fancy subscription model to get these tools, but they are HubSpot portal tools. They're not separate apps.
That I've just remembered. So when it was announced, they showed the content generator tools being used. So you can use them, and then if you are using HubSpot CMS, you press a button and it populates it into the page. If you're not, you can export it out and use it elsewhere. So yes, it can. I've upped myself from 90 to 99%. That's how confident I am.
Brilliant then. On that note, I think we've got time. I overran a little wee bit here. But yeah, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for listening to us sort of ramble on for the last 35 minutes. But keep your eyes peeled. We're looking to do a lot more sort of webinars coming up. Keep your eyes on my socials. This will be live, so you can watch the rewind of this, I think, literally on this link here. So if you ever want to come back and listen to us again, there you go, it's in this link. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a good weekend, and thank you guys for doing the talk with us.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.